2, and 2, 3. Just 1 year ago happened. Our wonderful secretary Adele left a message that Laszlo, some string folks from somewhere abroad are here, and they are talking to the interim chair at this moment, and if you want to talk to them, why don't you come upstairs? But she left the message 40 minutes earlier than I was listening to that, so everything seemed to be already over. So I went outside of the street and I saw people walking with violin cases. And I began to wave and scream, "Hello, aren't you the folks from abroad with those violin cases? Because I don't know you." And they turned back and they said, "Yes, we are." And I introduced myself. I am the conductor here. And she said, "I am the president of the Kazakh National Music Academy." So I said, "Why don't you come in?" And she said, "Why not?" This was the beginning.
So he stopped by my office. He said, "Well, we have these guests from Kazakhstan." And I said, "Oh, that's very nice." And they didn't speak very much English, so it was just, very nice. And then he took them to visit Ayako's studio as well. And Ayako invited Ayman and her guests to go with her to her studio and then also to play in the master class the following day.
How are you? How are you?
Yes, thank you, fine.
So the next day, Ayako had her studio class, and we were waiting to hear Ayman play. She was talking to the students and so on, and then Laszlo said, "Well, could you play something for us?" So she took out her violin, this beautiful Stradivarius violin, and she started to play. We were all amazed. We were just totally amazed at this woman's musicality, the technique, the fire, the energy. And that's, I think, what caught my attention the most. And so my little composer brain said, "Oh, wow, what can I do? How can I write something for this wonderful artist?" And then it just occurred to me, well, I could do a double violin concerto because our faculty violinist, Dr. Yonetani, is a wonderful violinist as well. And Laszlo said, "Yes, we'll program it and we can put it on the season for next year," and we started doing the project.
And we had this nice contract between the two universities signed by our President Hit, and also Ayman. So we worked this connection out, last year, end of October, beginning of November, and the next step was that she is coming here in this year. So by the time the first rehearsal began, everything was there. The score, the parts, the music. Ayman and Dr. Yonetani both had the solo parts, both were practicing. So everything was prepared just fantastically, how it should be every time. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The first thing that I would like you to do to introduce you our guest soloist, who will play the first in the double violin concerto by both Dr. Sang, both in the double concerto, the president of the Kazakh National Music Academy, Ayman Muzahodjayeva. Please welcome her.
Я родилась в Казахстане и свое музыкальное образование получила в республиканской музыкальной школе имени Кулеш-Беситовой. Потом я поступила в Московскую консерваторию и закончила по классу скрипки у профессора Валерия Александровича Климова. И в течение ряда лет я участвовала в различных музыкальных конкурсах, таких как конкурс Петра Ильича Чайковского в Москве, и являюсь лауреатом этих престижных конкурсов. Конкурс имени Яна Сибелиуса в Хельсинки, конкурс имени Николы Паганини, и конкурс скрипачей в Токио. Конечно, для меня сейчас очень приятным является то, что я сейчас работаю членом жюри этих престижных международных конкурсов, таких как конкурс имени Петра Ильича Чайковского. Также очень часто я работаю членом жюри международного конкурса имени Микеланджело Аббадо в Милане. имени Альберто Куччи в Неаполе.
Ayman is one of 60 worldwide UNESCO designated artists for peace, which means she travels on a diplomatic passport and she goes throughout the world giving concerts and playing music and taking the gift of music to people of all nations throughout the world. She is an extraordinary artist in many, many ways. She's a bubbling personality and just a delight to be with.
Second time more better.
Yeah, but this was the first time when we all heard it. How does it sound? It was very good that she said that, because several of our students think that they just play a little bit and they will be better. No. I'm 13. We must play much less. Everyone. You won't be better if you don't work. A house won't be built if you won't go there and put the bricks above to each other. You have to do that, and the same with this territory. And she is the best attraction that we could bring to the string territory here to our school.
We are working with a student orchestra, so they may not have the best technique yet, but I think they are compensating with their energy and their willingness, and they sound pretty good, but it's not like for the finesse of dynamics or color of the sound. They may not be able to do that. That's the challenge we have.
Sometimes when you're first rehearsals, particularly, you try to work out problems, you try to work out things that that you want to hear better or change here and there. And there were very few of those, and I think it was because everyone had worked already very hard and had prepared. So for me, it was very exciting to hear the parts come together, to see the enthusiasm that the orchestra had, to see Laszlo's enthusiasm with the orchestra and the communication that he has with the soloist and with the orchestra as well. So it was great.
We are in the last Monday rehearsal. It doesn't mean that next Monday we won't meet. I will see you next Monday again. Concert begins 7 o'clock.
Уникальным является то, что, во-первых, редко пишут произведения для двух скрипок с оркестром. Вообще, современной музыки для скрипки очень мало написано. Я многих композиторов прошу, чтобы они писали современную музыку. Можно с национальными мотивами, можно без национальных мотивов, но чтобы была это интересная музыка. Вот, ну и Stella такую вот композицию сочинила. И мне очень интересно, потому что используются, как говорится, песни и венгерские, и казахские, и китайские, и японские. И вот это сочетание, оно как бы объединяет все культуры и дает какую-то новую волну, новое дыхание музыки. Это говорит о том, что, в общем, стремление объединиться – это явление нашего времени. Культура, мы люди одной планеты, мы объединены единым стремлением к духовности, и тем самым через эту музыку мы можем объединиться.
Let's do the double violin concerto by Dr. Sang first. Here we are. Da capo, very clear 16 notes in the beginning, please. Ti-di-dim. Here we are. Everyone is ready?
When I started writing this piece, I was thinking about how to approach this, because the question for me as a composer is I had these two fabulous violinists, two world-class violinists, and how would I balance the two? I also wanted to give something to the players that would be challenging, that would be interesting, hopefully for them, and something that would be musically rewarding. So the inspiration really came from this group of musicians, the wonderful players, the wonderful spirit that these musicians exhibited. And then the following was to take that spirit up and find a musical way of expressing that.
Yes, yes.
We can rehearse on Thursday.
As a composer, you never know what to expect. You have an idea of what it's going to sound like in your head, but until it actually is there being played by these people, you never quite really know what to think about.
Thank you. I'm sorry for stopping, just I thought we should fix that.
Hey.
Shorter notes, okay? One, and here we are.
Ayman and Ayako are both very different violinists. They come from very different schools of training. Both are fine violinists. Both have beautiful instruments. It's a different sort of style of playing. It's interesting because Ayman and Ayako are both trained, their lineage comes from the European training. Although Ayako studied at Juilliard, her teacher was trained by European teachers as well. So there's that lineage, and yet the style is so different. But when they came together for my piece, that's what was amazing, because despite the differences of their style and despite the differences of the sounds of their instruments, they came together and played as though they were almost one. There were moments where I thought, gee, this is like hearing one violin. There was that synergy, I guess you could say, that just meshed so beautifully.
Ayman has impeccable, perfect left hand. She could play anything, impeccably clean, in tune, fast. She has an incredible skill of memory. If you pay attention to the right hand, we have a slight different style of playing. But I think that makes it's even more interesting. I tend to be slightly more lyrical playing. Also, the violin she's using makes a huge difference. Of course, you know by now that she has a strad. Not only that, she has Elman's strad, which is Misha Elman was the artist who was very popular maybe up to middle of 20th century. And he was known as Elman tone. So his sound was incredibly sweet. And her violin is one of his possessions. That's why it's called Elman strad. Mine is also loaned to me, but it's not the strad. Mine is also very, very good Italian fiddle. But if you really rank, those, maybe, I don't know, football team or something, it's like a strad is here, maybe there just is here, and then mine goes here. But still, you can find in a book, you can find in a famous Italian violins or something, if you really look up my violins there. I'm lucky that it's been loaned to me almost permanently.
You know, there are several world stars who even not willing to work with students, and even not willing to work with professionals who are not playing on their taste. Some of them are extremely full with themselves or just extremely picky, so very difficult to work with. She is not that. She's a wonderful open person. She knows absolutely that this is an educational level, and those old people will learn what to do. Will learn how to love music. They will learn what the new goal for them will be. She told me, I am not coming here as a world star violinist. I am coming here as a president of my academy, and I am coming here to build relationship between the two institutes and to help students to learn. And this was the approach, and this is why this moment is just extremely unique and special, because it's not about money. It's about art, music, and love of our profession, and reproducing this for the next generation. No any selfishness. This is just wonderful.
To work with somebody that world class, maybe they're 5 or 10 in the world, that's means a lot to me, and that excites me. And also, it's working very well. So it's elevate my skill too, not just prestige-wise, but in ability-wise, it's makes me work harder. And then you hear it in the double concerto that we work pretty well together.
Ну, мне очень приятно сотрудничать с профессорами университета Центральной Флориды. И, конечно, когда я получила приглашение выступить в концерте и дать серию мастер-классов, я была очень рада. И когда мне прислали ноты композиции Стеллы Сунг, я была очень удивлена вот высокому классу написания этой музыки. И поэтому я с удовольствием приехала и на первой репетиции обнаружила, что очень оптимистический такой настрой у оркестра и у молодых студентов, и все настроены работать. И очень рада, что прекрасная моя коллега Ayako Yonetani, она очень профессионал высокого класса, и мы просто играем с ней как две сестры. И вот все вот это очень приятные моменты для сотрудничества, для новых перспектив сотрудничества.
With a modern piece of music, there will be those who will say, well, I just didn't get it. This is always something that every artist, when they produce something new, faces, and you just simply don't worry about it at that point. It becomes something that you just say, well, some people like it and some people won't like it, but hopefully it will at least reach some people at some deeper level.
That was very nice. Thank you very much.
The experience of being able to play with world-class artists, or artists like Ayman and Dr. Yonetani, is something that is so integral in the student experience. You cannot teach it. You cannot get it from a textbook. This has to be experienced. The humanness, the kinds of subtle communications that go on between musicians and between the art of music making and between the art of music making and the craft of composition. This is something that has to be experienced. And when the students are able to see how world-class artists, true artists, really work, it takes you beyond yourself. It takes you beyond the music, the notes, and it becomes a real spiritual experience. And I think that's one of the things that the students will get out of all of this is, what is it that we want to say in music? Why is it that we're musicians? And that can be answered simply when you just do, and when you play the music, and when you feel the spirit just almost pulsating throughout your body. It's something you can't really explain, but it's something to do with energy and deeper understanding of what it is that we do.